Meet Robert Lee Brock. He is both the defendant and the plaintiff. Yep, you heard that right. That's right, this guy sued this guy. Welcome to the world of bizarre lawsuits. And if you think this guy's self-legal battle is one of a kind, you are mistaken. Buckle in because we're going to tell you about the most bizarre lawsuits ever filed. In the 1990s, a guy sued Bud Light for failing to make his dreams come true. Richard Overton sued Anheuser-Busch, the makers of Bud Light, for false advertising, claiming their commercials insinuated drinking Bud Light would lead to wild adventures with beautiful women in magical settings. He sought $10,000 in damages for emotional distress and mental injury. The case was dismissed. Then there was the woman who sued the weather station. In 2011, an Israeli woman sued a TV station for an inaccurate weather prediction. She claimed that the weather report caused her to dress lightly, she caught the flu, missed work, and she had to pay for medication. She actually won $1,000. By now, we've probably all heard of this gem. The woman who sued McDonald's over her spilled coffee? In 1992, Stella Lieback suffered third-degree burns after spilling a cup of McDonald's coffee in her lap. Evidence suggested that the coffee was hotter than most other establishments' coffee. Originally, Lieback asked for just her medical bills to be covered and was offered $800. This led her to sue. She was then awarded $2.9 million by the jury. The judge afterwards reduced it. Poor Michael Jordan. In 2006, Alan Heckard sued Michael Jordan and Nike's founder Phil Knight, claiming emotional pain and suffering because people often mistook him for the basketball star. He sought $832 million in damages. Eventually, that case was dropped. Then there's the guy who sued the dry cleaners for $67 million. In 2005, Roy Pearson, a judge in Washington, D.C., sued a family-run dry cleaning business for $67 million for losing a pair of his pants. You'd think a judge would know better, right? The amount was calculated based on his interpretation of the city's consumer protection law. The case dragged on for years and was eventually ruled in favor of the dry cleaners. Not a surprise. In the 1980s, a woman sued NBC. Why? She claimed that during an episode of Saturday Night Live, a sketch included a character that tried to hypnotize the audience. She claimed that she became disoriented, ran into a door, and subsequently became nervous around her appliances. Not surprising that the case was dismissed. Michael Jordan really gets sued a lot. This is a separate case from the previous one. A man sued Michael Jordan and Nike for a total of $832 million because he claimed Jordan's talent and fame had caused him personal harm and emotional pain and suffering. I don't need to tell you what happened there, do I? Let's go back to that guy in the beginning, Robert Lee Brock. In 1995, he was an inmate in Virginia. He decided to file a lawsuit against himself for $5 million. He claimed he violated his own civil rights by getting intoxicated and committing crimes. He then argued that since he couldn't earn an income in prison, the state should pay on his behalf. The case was dismissed. Anybody ever sue over soup? Yep, a man in California filed a lawsuit against a restaurant for running out of his favorite soup during a lunchtime promotion. He claimed suffering from mental anguish and sleepless nights. The lawsuit was thrown out. Here's a doozy. A robber actually sued the homeowner that he was trying to rob. And won.
What?
A man tried to enter the house through the kitchen window in Indiana, but he cut himself on a knife that was left in the sink.
Ouch!
And he successfully sued the homeowners for $300,000 for his injuries. Imagine that. Ever been to Universal's Halloween Horror Nights? It's a blast. But in 2000, a woman actually sued Universal because the haunted house was too scary. She claimed she suffered from extreme fear, mental anguish, and emotional distress from the experience. But the case didn't go so far. I guess the beer drinkers like to sue a lot. A man in California actually sued Heineken and a local TV station for false advertising after he watched a commercial where beer drinkers were rescued from a deserted island. He claimed he drank Heineken for years, but was never rescued from a deserted island himself. In 2005, a viewer sued NBC. Again, someone sued NBC. But this time, they sued Fear Factor for $2.5 million. Why? You ask? Well, the man claimed that watching contestants eat dead rats on the show caused him distress. He alleged that he ran away from his TV, became dizzy, hit his head, and vomited out of disgust. I have thought, don't watch it.